Good evening and welcome to my live stream here. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host, and we are to fight CPS and stop taking our children. That's right, you heard me. We're here to fight CPS. There's a rogue element of CPS out there that has gone bad in many of the areas across the country and around the world. This is a live stream broadcast around the world. I'm on YouTube and I use the StreamYard application. I'm on twice a day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. in the morning, and on the weekends at 8 a.m. in the morning. That's for 1 hour Pacific Standard Time. Also in the evening, I'm on at 7 p.m. Monday through Sunday, all 7 days. So that's 14 live streams that I have been doing, and I've been doing this since October 2023. It's about 17 months. I've talked to over 1,000 people from around the world, places like Indonesia and India and Bangladesh, and like the Middle East, and then in Africa and Europe, across to North America. All 50 states I've talked to, including the District of Columbia, and then down south the border, and then down in Grenada in South America, across the Pacific to New Zealand and Australia. But I've had a wealth of information. I want to welcome Margaret King. Hello, Margaret King. I see you're a new member yesterday on YouTube. I thought the name was the same, but I'm so glad that you're there. I had put you up all day last night or yesterday, whatever it was. Good evening, Livingstone. And Livingstone's from L.A. Margaret's from Kern County in Northern California. They're both are being represented by Mr. Davis, our attorney here. He has been fighting CPS for 39 years. He is a true juvenile law, family law dependency lawyer. He knows what it takes to beat CPS. He's won thousands of kids' freedom and got families back together. He's also done civil lawsuits where he's won millions of dollars in both in state court and federal court. So he's a real deal there. Now, I have a banner that is new. It supports our channel. It says $5 to support the channel, $10 to get questions answered privately and via text by attorney Vincent Davis. Also $15 to get questions answered privately via phone by Vincent Davis, and $25, I don't know what that's for, and I really don't know where you're going to send the support to. I assume you're going to join the YouTube channel that we had up there. We've lost that banner for $1.99. We were trying to start a newsletter, and we wanted you to subscribe to the CPS defense attorney Vincent Davis found on YouTube. And that's where I guess you could support our channel there. Also, I have a number, 888-888-6582. That's the law office of Vincent W. Davis. And there you can call in and support him with anything you can. We do have a newsletter. It just somehow I've lost some of the information. I'm trying to put it back onto my okay. Grace, with no offense, I can't find the $1.99 or my special rate for 60 minutes, $60 for 30 minutes. I've lost that one too. I didn't know you were changing things around here. Oh, okay. Well, later on, Grace, when we have time, we'll talk, because I'm missing a lot of my topics that I have on banners there. Now, I want to welcome Margaret and Livingstone again. And I want to know if there's a topic you want or something there that can help you out, with there. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Livingston, it's a lot of prayers. Thank you for all the prayers now. Now, I've changed the format a little bit. We're now doing topics and news about CPS. I'm still trying to remind you about things, but everything is on there. Okay. Seem to be thirsty tonight. Whew, it was really difficult to get on. I still don't know what to do about my computer because when the scrolling keeps running or the cursor starts moving, it's really difficult to type in or find things or research things or try to scroll down and see people's comments or anything. So bear with me. Now, there's several things in this room while you're in here. Please take notes and listen. Also, send emojis, thumbs up, hearts, smiley faces, and even stars. Please check below to follow me. And if you want to be notified I'm on, check the notification button. Now, we do have it so that if you want to text me a comment, either in the form of a question or just make a comment, make sure it's about CPS. Please show me your first name and your city or country and the state. Yes, I have, as I say, 21 countries that participate in here. And over 1,000 people of you have texted in or called in. That's a lot of people. So make sure if you're from another country, put your country down. Also tell me something about your case. Start from the beginning and where you are today so that I can help you. And I will take topics. Anything you ask me, I will try to research and look up for you. But what I'm trying to do, there's something called Google News, and I made it conducive to CPS so that we could talk about Google News and Google Stories about CPS. Now, another way to react in this live stream is to be a guest on my live stream. And all you have to do is pick one of the 14 shows, tell Grace and email to her. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. Now, she will put you on the show by giving you a link. Now, I know some of you have had meetings set up and they mentioned Filipino time. I know it's confusing because you're on West Coast or East Coast time. Whew. Okay, Margaret says, I have great news. Another case was dismissed against me this morning. What case was that, Margaret? I am so thrilled that you and Mr. Davis are working things out. Livingston says, a lot of prayers for Vincent Davis and me too. Thank you there, Livingston. So, Margaret, tell me what was dropped against you this morning. I really want to know. Now, if you guys have topics you want to talk about, like the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act, or maybe you want to talk about a 388 or how to do a 160 hearing or 180 hearing, or how to get an attorney replaced or how to file a grievance, things like that, I can try to help you. Good evening, at B. Margaret King, can you do it? I promise you that if we can view cases in an analytical way over emotion, it is possible. I came from a background of hands-on learning for my own case under supervision. Okay. Thank you, Livingston, and thank you for being in here. Yes, the Indian Child Welfare Act. That was an act that was passed in 1978. What it did, it prescribed that children, instead of being kidnapped or abused by CPS, they'd be put in the hands of the reservation. The reservation, the tribe, would then put the child in one of the Indian families on the reservation, and they would help do a reunified. Before, from 1875, when all the Indians were rounded up and their hair was cut and their culture was changed, they couldn't speak the language, they couldn't dress the language. Anyway, their children were always kidnapped by CPS. They'd be picked up, and instead of trying to make an effort, they wouldn't reunify with the parents. Now, if they find out they are Indian children, they're entitled to be put on the reservation. That means CPS must surrender the Indian children to the reservation, and the reservation should take care of them. That should line up and do family reunification. That's what the Indian Child Welfare Act was. And it's a real important act. It protects our children of our Native Americans, the first immigrations to North America. Okay, Al B says, go far, law school. Why not? Yep, we have a gentleman, a lady, K.K. Richardson, Kima, who did get her law degree in children's services, and she can practice law and dependency law, family law, and juvenile law. So it can be done. It can be done. Got some new eye medicine to help out my eyes, so it doesn't look like my eyes are closed, and I can put. I wear contact lenses, and I don't take very good care of my eyes, and I tire them out. So I got some eye drops to help me with my eyes. Oh boy, that makes a big difference there. Okay. So, the other number that's on the screen, let's see what I have on the screen. Okay, to be a guest, I need to put that up. There's her email, and that is grace@vincentwdavis.com, and you can type her what show you want to be on. Whew. Sometimes I feel underneath the gun here. Okay. I'm so happy you're here. I have my regulars here. There's so many of them. There's 25 to 30 of them. I hope we hear from Kit from South Africa. She really wanted to call last night. And, Albie is not a lawyer. I have a degree in paralegal with a semester looking into library sciences. Great. I'm glad to have you, Albie. What part of the world are you from? I know Margaret's from California. I apologize for the grammar errors. Spell check is that again. I agree. Spell check is terrible on my phone. Okay. Oh, Brandy Lee. Glad to see you, girl. Good evening and welcome, Brandy. She's from Wyoming, and thank you very much for repeating. She's a grandmother and a CPS victim. I do have another appointment with Mr. Davis. Good. For Monday. Yay. What about the Central Register? They refused to give us a hearing and said they have to put us in it. They only have to put you on the register if you've committed, I think it's for being sexual with children. I don't know. I have to look into that further. But let me see here. Brandy, you're from Wyoming. And hello, Do It Swell. SWALL. Do It Swell. Thank you very, very much. Davis, it was a criminal case. Part 2 finally over. I know you're accused of taken your grandfather's inheritance or a check or something. Last week you said that was dropped. What about this criminal part? What was this about? Now, Mr. Davis isn't in my live stream right at the moment. He will talk to you if you call in and be a guest on my show, or if you call in and speak on the phone. He'll give you a 15-minute private consultation. But tonight we're not having Mr. Davis unless he decides to drop in unexpectedly. Mr. Davis has been hired by Margaret King to counsel. Also, Mr. Davis is hired by Livingstone. Livingstone's from LA, and Margaret's from the Kern County area. All right, I'm glad that it's behind you, Margaret. God bless you. And Brandy Lee says it will stay child neglect or abuse. Well, if that's what you're charged with, but have you been convicted of that, Brandy? Just because you're charged with it doesn't mean you've been convicted yet. That's sweet words, Livingston. Thank you very much for caring about everybody in the room. Okay, I'm going to check the news part here. If you go to Vincent's website, vincentwdavis.com, he has a real good thing about people that testify what kind of attorney he is. He has divided it into family law, criminal defense, and personal injury. And then he has what clients have to say. So it's really, really, really great. So please visit the website. Let me see if I can put that up on my page here. Oh, before I forget, I need to put up my phone number because you guys can call in right now and talk to me live. It's 626 698 0990. That's my direct line to me tonight. We can talk and I can put the speakerphone and we can talk about your case. One thing's nice, if you talk tonight, I can set you up with a free 15-minute consultation. And here we go. Good evening, and this is Bob Pace live stream on Vincent W. Davis, and who I have the pleasure of talking to.
This is Micah from Do It Swell.
Okay, Micah, you talked to me, I think, earlier today?
Correct.
Right, and you're calling back. And can you tell me where you're located, Micah?
Currently Dallas, Texas.
Okay, this gentleman's from Dallas, Texas. Was that where your CPS case was?
Correct.
And how did that CPS case start?
First, biological father calling in a complaint about child abuse on the child.
So the biological father was calling the CPS. Now, why would he do that?
Immaturity, disrespect.
Well, is he not the biological father of the kids?
Excuse me?
Is he not the biological father of the kids?
There was 5 children. He was the biological father of the one I was raising with the biological mother.
Okay.
So 4 children mine, and one was his.
Okay. And he didn't like it because he's jealous because you're now the father of all 5 kids.
Yeah, I've been raising his child since they were 2.
Now, why was he taken out of? Did he lose his rights to his kid?
No, he never stood up for him. Like I say, when the child was just before the child turned 2, the mother and I got together and we had a relationship. And he called CPS much earlier then, and had some things to say. But the way he left the message, and he was saying, that I had broke his phone and other things. When they came to investigate, they were saying that they thought it was a bogus call, but they had to come through, check it out, whatever. And just recently, he decided to call and do it again after all these years. And so it started then. They closed the case in January. And then in February, she ran away, went to a school, and she cried that there was abuse at the home. I didn't know. They just said that she was trying to register in the school, is all I was told. When I went to pick her up, they said, she was on school property, private thing. They had to check with, CPS, different things of that nature. So I said, okay. I waited. They eventually had the police bring her back. They said CPS would want to talk to you, but it seemed like everything was fine. I ignored CPS. I don't deal with them people. Oh, let me go back. One of the reasons is when they came out, when he originally called them, we were in a different state. But the investigator, when it came out, she was like, yeah, I think it was BS, whatever. I'm going to, log it in there and let them know everything is fine. After a couple of weeks, someone else called from CPS, and they were like, yeah, we need to do an investigation. We're like, hold on. Somebody came out already, said that, everything was everything. They were like, oh, well, she doesn't work here any longer, so we don't have any of that information, so we got to send them out and do it again. So we ignored them way back when. And so because of all the, things we hear, we've been ignoring them. So this time when she, this situation happens after school, like I say, when they come, we ignore them. So almost a little more than a month later, we get a suit, a copy of a petition. So it says you're being sued by these people. So I asked the daughter, I said, hey, what's going on? Tell the truth, because, they're going to be showing us everything, telling us everything. They said nothing much. They just said they had to take pictures of them, whatever. The next morning, she runs away. We look for her that evening.
How old is she? How old is she when she runs away?
13.
Okay.
So that evening, we put out a police report because, by the time everybody gets home from school, we homeschool children, but she plays with some of these other children when they come home from school. So when nobody knows or, sees her or anything of that nature, so we put out a police report. The following morning, about 6 a.m. Oh, and then that day we get all of the paperwork from the court. And the paperwork is a petition for order to investigate. As well, which we didn't know at the time, it also included an ex parte for the order. But we didn't know it at the time because all we had was the petition. We were trying to figure out what's going in there, and that's where we were seeing what's going on. There was an incident I forgot to mention a few days before she ran away. She had sent out a message with my cell phone to the police, anonymously saying some, child was being hurt, had a bunch of marks and bruising on her arm or red marks or something, which was Super Bowl day. When the police arrived, we opened up the door. They were asking, for a Spanish person's name. I was like, nobody lives here like that. Then they said the phone number the number came from, and I was like, well, that's my number. And I just started looking for my phone before they came in, so I knew it was her. My boys wouldn't do anything like that. I don't know her to have done anything like that. However, if you have my phone's missing, right? I knew it was her, and I told the police that. She eventually finds my phone, said it was some other girl in the house. She saw with the phone, but yeah. And so, I told the police it's her. I don't know why she did it. Up to this point, it's just mainly her lying a lot more. And being on the internet doing things she shouldn't be doing. But this type of accusation of behavior, no, we're not accustomed to that. So the police had asked to, if there were any other children, which I did. I had 3 much younger children, and they were arresting. And they asked to come in. I told them no. I didn't want to raise them up. She's definitely the girl they're looking for. They were like, okay, let's check with the supervisor. We'll let you know. The supervisor on site, they came back and said, okay, we're just going to write this up, a report. CPS might come to talk to you. Okay, cool. I ignored them when they came. So that was on the 9th to the 3rd. So that was on, that was Super Bowl back in February. So fast forwarded to just, a week or so ago, when we got the paperwork on the 18th, I said, tell me what's going on. She says nothing. Next morning, she's gone. We get the rest of the court paperwork. We're looking over it. We're seeing all, certain stuff. We're skimming through the stuff. So that situation with the 9th that I told you about with the police officers, in the report, it's written up by the investigators that the police came to the door. I was being very cooperative with the police. They barely could see 2 officers, but then they do say, one of the officers said they didn't see any visible marks on the children, but I closed the door on them. So they're making it seem like, again, I'm stopping them from doing their job. And there was another instance in there. So besides what the girl is saying, and I'm just saying, anyway, something that's very key, when they interviewed the girl at the school, they say that they didn't notice any bruising on her. The one investigator said there's no bruising or welts. Another investigator says there's no new marks. There's no bruising on her. Okay, they asked her, when was the last time you was physically abused? She said after Super Bowl. So remember, she called on Super Bowl day, and then after, this is the 13th. Okay, so they're saying they don't see anything on her. Yet they took photographs and they sent it to some forensic specialists. After a couple of weeks, it comes back from the forensic specialist. She's got a bunch of bruising on her body. It says she's got bruising all on her forearms, on her shoulders, on her legs, and it's consistent with her story and consistent with abuse. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, I see my daughter. She came home that day. I know she don't have bruising. These investigators say she don't have bruising. So how the heck this forensic specialist, and even in his report, he's saying, he's using words may appear to be, or may be, it appears to be, using very uncertain words. But then the last sentence is, before the last sentence it says, even some of these photos is difficult to discern because of the shadows, the bad lighting, and something else. Yet he ended by saying it's consistent with her story and it's consistent with abuse.
Okay.
So this is what they're going by. So when she is found the next morning, they tell me to come pick her up. I go to pick her up. It's the investigators, and they say they want to interview me. It becomes an interrogation. I tell them I'm cool. I just want to take my daughter and go home. That's when they say we're removing her from your home. Say okay. And they were like, we want to investigate. We want to interview the mother. I say come to the house. come to the house. So a different investigator comes to the house later that day. We had a chance to go over more of the report. And at this point, I'm just like, yo, all these lies. And these people keep changing the stories. And so when I get there, I tell them, I said, hey, this ain't cool how y'all writing it and changing up things. Like, you know, with the police officers and different things of this nature, y'all really making it seem like I'm a snake type of person. And what this little girl is saying, it's like, if y'all would, did you talk to any of our neighbors?
Have you thought about your own investigation, to hire your own investigator and have your own doctor, her pediatrician, look at her to see if she's fabricating this, or this is something that the other people are fabricating?
So understand, we found out about this the 19th. She ran away the 19th. So on the 20th, right, I go in the morning. So they said we were moving her from your home. Okay. So then later on in the 20th, the same day, they come to the house. At this point, they're saying, hey, we want to come in and interview your children in private. I was like, first of all, I have this petition to order. It doesn't say you have to come in my house and talk to them. It says that you're asking. So they give me some paperwork and say, no, this says we have to come in. I'm like, it doesn't have any court seals. There's nothing.
Well, you see, the first of all, they have to have a warrant. Most important of all, before you even go any further, you should have an attorney that's representing you, tell you what to do. You should not be, as a parent, second-guessing CPS. Number one, you don't talk to them. Number two, you don't let them in your home. Number three, you let them take your children. They have to have what's called a warrant. It's got to be a legal documentation signed by a judge with a hand stamp that makes the raised signature go up high so no one can forge it. It's got to be on a weekday date. It's got to give specific instructions, who they're accusing and who the children are and what they're accusing. Also, it's got to be there very specifically the date that they can come and what they can do. They can talk to you. They can take your child. They can enter the home. All that's got to be on that piece of paper. And what's happened is that CPS, a rogue CPS, have used old court orders and modified things with whiteout and changed to suit their needs. So I wouldn't trust them at all. Now, if you have an attorney, that is what you need. You need that juvenile, family law, dependency attorney. You need that three-part attorney there. And they're the ones that should orchestrate and tell you what to do and how to protect your Constitution and civil rights.
I hear you, and it happened so fast.
I know.
From this one instant, they went from, as I said, they already took the girl. So now they leave my house that day because I was like, listen.
Now, what was the girl? What kind of duress was that girl underneath? Was she being bodily harmed? I mean, why did they take her?
Because she said, okay, so she was saying she was bodily harmed, that she was, getting a lot of spankings and this, that, and the third. So now this is the thing. Remember I told you in the pictures before, when they took pictures on the 13th, the people there said they saw no bruising on her. But when this forensic person got it, right, 2 weeks later, he's saying, oh, yeah, she's got a bunch of all over her body. So it's consistent with abuse.
Yeah, but so you didn't counter and get your own investigation, and you allowed them to manipulate you. Yeah, I
didn't know, Bob. Bob, see, they only told me she tried to enter in school.
Right.
And, high school and find herself up. So I had no idea. I just found out about it. So when I find out about it, it's the 19th. But I'm skimming through it because my daughter's missing. So after I go to the police at 6 a.m. to pick her up, and they tell me, no, we moved her from her home. When we come back, this is when we start going through the petitions some more and starting to see what's going on. So we didn't know this whole time.
What does your attorney advise you to do? What does your attorney advise you to do?
I have an attorney at this time, sir.
Don't you have a public defender?
We just appointed him yesterday.
Okay.
I was the only one not appointed. We had a court date, we had a court date Thursday. Everybody else had a public attorney appointed for them but me. So when we got on there, they was like, oh, well, since you don't have one, we got to postpone this. And then, the judge was like, I gotta drive back from wherever to here to beat the storm. she pops off, and then some guy pops on and was like, "Hey, yeah, I'm going to be representing you. I'm your attorney."
Well, the public attorneys are a joke. I know that see, the thing is, the Constitution says if you're in a legal matter, you have to have an attorney representing you. If you don't have the money for one, a court appointed one can be appointed. The only problem is the appointed attorneys are CPS people that they hire. They're criminal attorneys. They're not family law or juvenile law or dependency law attorneys. They have no background there. They have a caseload of 30 more clients. So they don't have time for your case. And you got to really put the screws to them and tell them either you perform or I'm going to sue you for negligence, and I'm going to report you to the state bar exam, the state bar, and I'm going to file a complaint against you.
Then that's what I have to do because, like I said, I'm waiting to hear from them. They texted me Thursday saying, "Hey, I have the pleadings and photographs that you wanted."
Right? Why can't you retain a professional attorney? Is it the finances?
At first, Bob, we were reading. So the part that I didn't get to was after Thursday when she left my house. She went back home and said I was uncooperative and that I wasn't obeying the court order. So that's when they decided, and I'm reading this a week afterwards in the reports that they gave to us a week after the incident. They just, right? So it's saying that's when they decided to take my boys. I had 4 boys. So they went to court on a Friday to get a writ so they can come back and take all my boys from me. And so that following Monday, we were gone. We came back, and my neighbor was like, "Hey, man, you had the sheriffs out here pounding on your door. Like, it sounded like they were trying to bust through our door." I was like, "Really? What?" So at this point, we were going to the law library. We were doing different things, right, to find out, what can we do and to write a response. So when we were leaving Tuesday morning, my boys, I sent them out to the car. And we come out, and the police and CPS, it was the constables this time. And so they kidnapped my children, man. And, they didn't even, they gave us the same old paperwork they gave us the week before, the petition and the petition for the order and the ex parte that they had pulled up. So what we learned is when we read the rules, the codes that they said they were going by, they didn't follow their codes. And so even in reading the CPS handbook, it was saying, hey, after you take the children, that first court date is to assess, basically, to see if you got it right. Were they really in immediate danger? Which that court date was yesterday. And, really what it looked like they were doing was they had this plan for us. Hey, you need to sign this plan where you agree to drug rehab and parenting classes and all this other stuff, man. And it's just like, hold up. Y'all still ain't following your rule book, man. What's really going on? And so at that point, we knew, hey, it's just a whole lot. It's a whole lot more going on, man. And it's really, they're saying that, and lastly, what they were saying is, now instead of abuse, because they see no signs of it, now they're saying, oh, you homeschooling your children, you're not sending them to the doctor, so you're keeping people isolated, and pretty much it's the potential for, unchecked abuse to go on. And
homeschooling is not abuse. Every parent has the right to homeschool their children, but there's a certain procedure you must do. You must work out an education plan with the school district for your area if you're going to homeschool your children. It should be well written and outlined, and there's a way that they can check to see if you are doing the proper homeschool. There's no way that you're going to be causing abuse by homeschooling. And furthermore, the more you talk with CPS worker, the worse it's going to be. So if I was you, I would no longer talk to a CPS worker unless it's with your attorney's permission. Now, if that court-appointed attorney doesn't know what to do, then get rid of him. Get another court-appointed attorney. They have half a dozen court-appointed attorneys. One of them will fight for you. You just got to put fire underneath their seat and get them emotionally involved. Because if they know they have to fear about a lawsuit or being turned in and their license taken away from them for negligence, then they're going to have another thinking coming to them. You need to put the heat underneath the caseworkers. Make them work for you.
Okay.
If you can't make them work for you, then fire them and get another one. If that doesn't work, get a third one, then a fourth one, then a fifth one. If you can't afford an attorney, you're going to have to make do with your court-appointed attorney. But I recommend that you hire an attorney like Mr. Davis. I had to sell my home to do it. A quick sell of my home, I got the money, and he was retained. So I know it's expensive. I know it's hard. I had a terrible time. But when I got him, I got my children back. The only trouble is one of my children was pushed by the social worker in a revenge to emancipate from the parents at age 12, to change their name, to seal a birth certificate, get a new birth certificate and a new social security card, and be adopted by a foster care. That was all orchestrated by the social worker, a young 20-something-year-old girl with not even a high school education, taking care of your lives. I mean, it's really hard for me to have any credible with a social worker when myself, I have a Bachelor of Science degree, I have a teaching credential, and I can teach high school biology and high school chemistry. That's advanced placement chemistry and advanced placement biology, which they get units of credit in college if they pass the exam. So I don't understand, when I have a social worker who's only 22 years old that supposedly knows everything about families and how to do a reunification of the family, when all she would talk about to me was her eyelashes, her makeup, her accessories, her clothing, her BMW car, and all the bonuses and incentives they were paying her by keeping her children in the foster care system. The child protection system in Orange County is corrupt from the top director all the way down. And I can say that. I'll probably take a lot of heat for that. But that's my experience. They were given, the county was paying the CPS agency in Orange County $20,000 per child per month. That's $60,000 that they were getting from the state, who in turn got it from the federal government. CPS is corrupt. It's corrupt in LA County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, Kern County. I can go on and on. Oakland County, San Diego County. I've seen nothing but corruption among all those counties. And I see it across the country when over 1,000 people share the same problems, where your children are taken or not in danger. My children were in private schools. How were they in danger? They had their own bedroom, their own bathroom. It was immaculate. They lived in a house that anybody would be envious, close to the beach. They had all kinds of activities, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, AYSO soccer, and so forth. They went on trips with me around the world. So I don't know where CPS is coming from, except they were determined to put the screws to us. They do that, especially when I lost my job and I didn't have access to money to get a real attorney. You're really at a disadvantage, and it shouldn't be that way. Whether you have enough money or not, they should, if they're going to appoint a court-appointed attorney, they need to appoint somebody that is not saddened with cases. My social attorney had 30 cases. Now, how can you talk to 30 different families and know what's going on? No way. They do that purposely so they will not perform. And they don't want to fight. They can't. They don't have the time to fight. Plus, their background's all wrong. I mean, it's like having a garage mechanic do open heart surgery. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. You need a doctor. And CPS, they're strange. You're like Alice in Wonderland. You fall in the rabbit hole and you meet the Cheshire Cat and you sit from room to room. You're going nowhere. CPS is like that. They're corrupt. They're not transparent. They don't care about families, seniors. They don't care, period. All they care about is a big buck a dollar. And President Bill Clinton signed into law the incentive law in 1994, which means that they paid CPS county agencies to have them adopted in foster care. They're rewarded. They didn't want to do reunification because it takes a year. It's very costly to do family reunification. And not all families should be going through that. You know, they need to weed out the rogue CPSs. There's many of them that are bad.
Yeah, I believe it or not, man, I had a little stint, fighting. I spent some time out there in Orange County near, what's that? I forget. When the Asians started moving out that way, there was a little area that they had. And so we used to get fights at schools a lot. And so my pops put me into a little 2-week little group home for a minute. And so after that, I got in trouble, caught a case, so I was on probation. And there would be times I get in trouble at home or whatever, they put me in juvenile hall. So my probation officer at that time was like, hey, it don't make sense you sitting in juvenile hall. So she started putting me in group homes. So I'm familiar with Orangewood and some of these other children that were being taken from their homes and different things. So I started going through that process. So that's why I know and I understand about inside the program. You understand? I couldn't go to Orangewood because I had a criminal background, but the group homes that they would end up going to sometimes and that they would transition to or before they get adopted. And so, I see, man, it's very few individuals who are, you even have some that are really sincere and about wanting to help, but it's the system itself that corrupts even those, that really want to make a difference. So that was my hesitation, man. And even this court, this judge, we're reading her bio and we're reading how she, is talking about how, when you come to her court, you better make sure you make it for the court date. There's no postponing stuff, and make sure you don't schedule bad. She's talking to her lawyers and all of this stuff. So to get there to this court, and then she's like, oh, hey, you don't have an attorney? Well, let's postpone this. And, I got to get on the road before this storm, and in her car and all this stuff. And so, I'm trying to catch her before she get off the car. Like, hey, man, let's move forward with this because my children should come home. There's nothing you have with the boys. I get it. Not the boys. You had no reason to take the boys. You've already, 2 days after you took the girl away from us, she was back in another state with her dad. You understand me? So, and then they're talking about, we're going to take her off and her dad off the case. So all you leaving me is me and my boys. So I'm like, hello, can I get your attention? You understand me? And just the ugliness. I'm talking and, and it just pops off. Then she's done talking and I'm just like, yo, this is wild, man. Like, I hear you. So I've already started asking, friends and family, you know what I mean, to be able to send in donations, where I have to do a GoFundMe, you know what I mean, so that I can get assistance because this is wild. The pictures that they have, I just seen the pictures. So I just seen the most recent pictures. She might have a little bruise on her arm, but the way that they wrote these stories up, I really thought she had got beat up. And I told my sister-in-law about this. My sister-in-law has been in contact, with some of these CPS workers. She's a doctor, psychological doctor with children and stuff like that. So she helped when they took our daughter to have her sent to a friend's house instead of to be into the system. And Victis, what is that thing? Victis Ken. And so, but she was surprised and alarmed. She was like, what? You understand? She's like, I haven't seen her with anything. Even the family that was watching her didn't say she had anything like this. Right? And she's back on, she's in Cali. She's all online and this nature. So when I sat there and I was like, well, if they lied about that, I know for sure they lied about the other ones. So, just looking into the case, it's like, well, if you have these pictures now, and I see something that might be considered a bruise, but I read the report. Nothing in this report, this new report that they wrote, says abuse.
Really? Really? Wow.
You feel me? That I know for a fact she didn't have no bruises because I seen her before and after y'all took the pictures. And the investigator said, you understand? And the investigator the very investigator who said we were moving your child from you is the investigator who was there when they took the pictures. So she's one of the ones that said, I saw no bruises, no welts, no new marks. So that's why I'm just like, yo, come on, man. So and now, as I said, when this first and last court date, instead of they talking about abuse, they're saying, hey, you homeschooling them, you isolating the children. That's damaging them. So it's a whole another subject, man. So again, I hear you, brother, and I appreciate you at least telling me about to utilize the bar to report them to the bar. I didn't even think about that before. And if you could repeat that, and then I would also ask, are there any other state agencies that you think that I can contact to put a little fire in this, either just the attorneys or
Well, I got a couple things right now. There's a civil rights coordinator at the Capitol. Now, I think you told me you're in Texas, right?
Correct.
Is San Antonio the capital of Texas?
I thought, was that Austin? I'm a transplant by a few years, brother. I thought it was Austin personally.
Yeah, okay, it may be Austin. I don't know. But whoever the capital is, you want to contact on the internet the civil rights coordinator and put a complaint against your CPS group in your city, Dallas.
Okay, I did that today.
Yeah, you can do that. Also, you want to get a hold of Doge. You've heard of Doge, haven't you? DOGE?
That's some new stuff. That's new
right,
stuff.
That's the government efficiency investigation. It's a new branch. It was headed up by Elon Musk, but I think he's pulling out. But anyway, they're investigating social services, and they have a number that you can call to talk to them directly if you want to make a complaint. And this is at the White House. This is at the White House. They have a website. You need to go there first. It's doge.gov. Doge.gov. It's https:// doge, doge.gov, G-O-V.
Gotcha. My wife just gave it to me.
Yeah, and you need to do it there. Now, the phone number. It's very important I get you that phone number. Hold on 1 second here.
No shit up.
I'm looking it up. I'm sorry it's taking so long.
Oh, I appreciate it. Is this the number for Doge, brother?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get right now.
Okay, because with the information you gave to me so far, I see 2 phone numbers for them.
Well, there is 2 phone numbers, but one person in my room called one of those numbers and was given another number that works better. It's area code 202. It's the White House, area code 202. But there's 3 numbers for Doge now. And I'm trying to find the number that was working in there. But if you call those 2 numbers, you should be able to get through. Doge needs to hear about what you're saying about the corruptness. They will investigate it and help you out there.
What do you think about the FBI? Because I came across their website and they say that
I've heard pros and cons about the FBI. I had one lady that tried to get a hold of the FBI and they wouldn't give her the time of day. I hate to say that, but there's nothing wrong with contacting the FBI if you're not getting anywhere with the child protection system. I mean, if they're that corrupt, the FBI, you need to get higher ups and you need to get those people involved. And I wouldn't be afraid to go to President Trump if I had a gripe about something. I mean, he's one of the guys that you can approach. He doesn't bite. He works the job just like all of us. He's supposed to be our president and help us. And right now we're experiencing a bad case of rogue, bad CPS workers. They lie. They're not transparent. They cheat. They steal. I can go on and on about that. And they need to be investigated and reprimanded, and they need to have some type of a directors or supervision, and the money's got to be accountable what they're doing with the money.
Right, indeed, because it's definitely a money scam. Even I saw the codes that they put on the paperwork, and I was looking them all up, and I saw how they plan on charging us a monthly fee for the welfare of our children, but they're also going to be taking out a loan for each one of our children from the state.
Right. I know. Well, it's not a loan. It's $1 trillion business. Billions of dollars is given to the state and millions of dollars is given to the county. And the money flows so freely. There's no check and balances. There's no board of supervisors. There's no board of directors. There's no one supervising CPS.
Right.
They allowed to go free will, and the police don't help anything because a lot of the police are corrupt. I'm not saying all police are bad. I'm not saying that child protection is all bad, but they're not supposed to do what they're doing. They're supposed to protect their children from neglect and abuse, not to abuse them further, not to neglect them further, not to hurt them, not to alienate them, not to traffic them into foster care. That's what they are doing.
Amen. I understand it. And I don't, they say one apple spoils the whole bunch. And my thing is, if you have so many people that aren't bad, how come we're not? The issue then is you're not standing up, pointing out the ones who are. Right. So, again, there's too many people who, aren't standing up for right, in the moment. They have too many reasons. And I hear people talk about, this war coming, Trump or this or that. And my thing is, it's really the war on inside of you. It's time to stop being afraid to do the right thing when it's needed. It's time to stop, coming up with excuses, you understand, for, again, for wrong to continue to grow and to be the loudest voice, man. People.
Now, I have a question for you. Would you like to speak to Mr. Davis personally?
Most definitely.
Well, he offers, I had arrangements with him, that if anybody calls in or on my show as a guest, they're allowed 15 minutes of a free consultation through a Zoom meeting with Mr. Davis, and he'll talk to you. All you need to do is the number you call me in, you text your full name, your email, and your phone number, and I'll send it off to Grace, who's my show producer, and she'll arrange a time with you. You and Mr. Davis.
That'd be awesome.
So with that being said, I got to go because it's already 8 o'clock. I've gone over my show time, and I want to thank you very much for talking. You're welcome to call in tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. That's the next time I'll be on there. I want to thank Livingston for calling in. I want to thank Love Bug. You came in late, but thank you, Love Bug. I'm glad to see you here. Ala B, thank you. Margaret, thank you. And everybody else, thank you very much. Brandy Lee, thank you. I think I got everybody. Oh, JD, I haven't forgotten you. Hello, JD, and thank you for coming in here. And I want to thank also Maureen Michael. Thank you very much for you guys all that come in there. And thank you also, Griffith. Yeah, Francine Griffith. Thank you all for coming into my show tonight. Thrift Swell, yes, thank you. And I think I got everybody. So that being said, I'm going to say good night and God bless and keep fighting for your kids. This is Bob Pace signing off.